27th Falmouth Planning Board meeting to order. The first thing on our agenda tonight is minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval of the minutes of March 15th and March 20th.
I'll second.
Any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Next is public comment. If anyone's here that would like to discuss anything that's not on our agenda tonight, this is your opportunity. Hearing none. The next is approval not required. Plans received between March 21st and March 27th. So we have an A and R here. Has everyone had a chance to look at it? Any questions from anybody?
This one here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it?
We'll ask.
Was someone here to respond?
Well, let's see what the questions are. What?
I'm not sure I understand what's going on down here. This is access to lot 26A. 26A is up here, but it appears to be access to 3C.
Well,
And this whole thing appears to be trying to get access to Deer Pond Road, and I'd like someone to explain
Well, I
what
don't-
it is they're trying to do there.
don't believe they need to do that, Paul. If you read the plan properly, this lot 26 has 300 feet access of frontage on Deer Pond Road, and they're adding parcel B to that, so that lot already has 300 feet of frontage,
Okay?
okay? The fact that the easement also goes with it, I don't know why they're doing that, but they have the right to. They're retaining this lot. They may need it for lot area for some other calculation.
These people know?
What?
Maybe they ever?
I know who they are.
Oh, you do, okay.
So I guess what we're supposed to do is, if we can see that it doesn't create a building lot and they're just breaking up, they have the right to endorsement. We don't really get to ask why they're doing it. We put this, the planning board endorses under the subdivision control law that it's determined not to comply with any zoning or building lot. So there'll be a deed, it'll say right in our discussion that this is not for a building lot purpose.
Okay. Thank you.
You still need more
That's fine.
questions? Okay.
It is confusing. but-
It's really confusing. I had about a 5-minute start on it.
Okay.
Charlotte, are you okay?
I understand that we don't have any reason to know why, but I guess I'm okay.
John?
Questions?
I move to endorse this plan without regard to zoning or buildability.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None?
I need my pens.
Okay. Okay. The next on the agenda is the Messrs. Site Plan Review to construct a separate structure accessory apartment at 190 Goleta Drive. Okay, as I recall, we had some questions that we were going to get a revised plan showing the location of the building. Do we have that?
It's up there on the screen. And we do
Okay.
have it.
Okay. Well, Bob's recused himself, okay. So everyone see the changes? The building's been turned 90 degrees with the narrow end facing the front. I have a question. I'm confused by this drawing here in the package. You know, we have an awful lot of drawings here, and I think you better,
There was actually,
what's this? Does this one belong in the set?
It does not anymore, sir.
Why is it here? How can we
Because
figure this out?
We brought options to you for...
No, for tonight. We saw the options last week. Are all the options still here?
I don't know what's in your file. We submitted the most recent design this
Okay.
week.
Is that this?
So we need some guidance
that's
here,
the most up-to-date version of what
This
this
one.
has.
okay? I know, I had one question first. I would like to get on it. Can you walk us through the calculations of the area of these two buildings?
Yes. We submitted an accessory apartment worksheet that the zoning board required, which is part of the documentation that we submitted.
So the existing house square footage is 2,007 square feet, and the...
Can you show us something that shows that?
You should have the document from the zoning board, the accessory
do.
apartment worksheet that was submitted.
It's in the packet.
Okay.
I have a question on this, because I'm puzzling over something. It says the rooms. Do you know when they require you to calculate? Because we don't know. You define rooms, but what about the hallways? Do they count that in as living space too, or is it tossed out? Do you know?
I don't know the answer. This is perhaps worst-case scenario, the figures that we have. So in other words, we did not include the hallways in that calculation for our existing house. The architect on the proposed building did include all space. If you compared apples to apples, we would be below that 39% that we're talking about now. So I think our calculation for the actual living space in the accessory apartment was closer to 60 or 50 square feet, maybe even less than that.
Well, the assessor's records have your house at 1,600 square feet.
That's,
And
yeah,
what I
and
was
that's
hoping to
incorrect.
see is the math, how to show how it
I think it
grew.
probably didn't have. Did the assessors have the finished basement? Do you know?
No, the assessors
They
wouldn't
did
have the
not.
finished
They
basement.
also
but-
did not have the correct upstairs. When we went before the Board of Health, the Board of Health had our house listed as 3 bedrooms.
Down there.
And we spent time with them that evening, and Mr. Carrigan actually went and got the building plan from upstairs in the office
Okay, we're-
and brought it
that's
down,
okay.
and it was incorrect.
We're not the board health here, okay? We're trying to see.
No, I'm just trying to
She's
explain, you're
answering my
asking about the
question.
math with it, and what the town assessor has is not accurate.
Okay.
That is not necessarily the case. The town assessor measures formulas space differently than whoever you had do it. They label, where's that? This here, okay? BAS is your ground floor. The simple math is 36 by 26. It's just the mathematics of that square. FHS is, I believe, 50% of that because they only count half the second floor in their area. But if you add these numbers up, you'll get to 1,600. It's not a mistake. It's a methodology
Right.
difference, okay? And we've been talking about trying to make everyone reconcile to this number so that everyone comes in and doesn't have a different formula for doing it. Do you have a letter from Noah Greenberg saying what the area is?
Right here.
Yes, sir, it's in there, submitted.
So this is the new building, okay, that's good. Don't have to worry about it if an architect says it's that way, we'll go with it. Go ahead, Pat.
From looking at this, I think we've got to clarify our bylaw, but we haven't. And from looking at this, you definitely fit in the square footage requirement. Because you've got the way the ZBA requires you to do it, and you've got your architect doing it for the new one. And
So
To
we
me,
can
it
find, we
says
can
it's
find
good.
it's, the finding we need to make, that it's less than 800 square feet, and that says it's 737. We need to find that it's less than 40% of the main structure, and the architect has put it on the form, so you got a licensed architect, so we'll accept this as
so it's 39,
documentation, okay?
39%.
You with
that's
us
all
on
right.
this?
Yeah.
This is, everybody's coming in with a different way of looking at it, but it's important that, that people start off with the assessor's records and just don't say that they're wrong. They're not being interpreted properly. Not everyone knows that, I'm not saying, everyone does it, not just you. Okay, very common mistake, but we have to find some way. So now the other thing I wanted to see is the changes to the first floor. This bedroom will be eliminated, is that what we're seeing? It's made into a living area, and it's being, has two ways of going in, both of them open with no doors, is that,
Correct,
that's what we see here?
yes.
That's the existing structure.
The existing structure, but they're taking away a bedroom and moving it to the other, so they're trying to get the no bedroom increase?
Correct, that's
That's the way to do this, it's the
Right.
right way.
right.
So they drop one here and go there. Everybody all set? Paul, you have anything to say?
Well, I have some comments when you finish.
I'm just going through, we have so many, those are the questions that I had, were the areas and the bedroom and the plan. And they have shown that, and I wanted to see an updated plan of the elevations. And this shows, these windows are similar to the same windows in the main house, is that correct? Is that what we're looking at here now?
Yes.
So they've all been changed to match, so this now has the same color, same shingles, and same windows as the main house.
Yes, sir.
Okay? We've been going at this for a while.
All right?
Yeah, go ahead.
This whole thing troubles me a bit. This board spent well over a year crafting a accessory apartment bylaw. We had multiple hearings, meetings, and it was approved. Now there's some issue about reviewing it and revising it again. And when I first looked at this, I don't see this as meeting the accessory bylaw. This is a separate building on a property. It's not an accessory structure. It's not part of it. It's not a barn. It's basically a subdivision of that property. And that still troubles me on this whole thing. And this board has spent an awful lot of time reviewing this and working with the applicant, far more than any other project I've ever seen. And I think that's very helpful, particularly for the applicant. But I'm still troubled by the fact that if we go with this, we're opening up a precedent that people can come in and start putting another building on a lot, regardless of what it says in the...
Well, I think,
accessory
Paul, what we're
apartment
doing, if we accept this, we're gonna be making a finding that this new proposed building looks like a barn. Because the bylaw specifically refers to barns or garages. So they're reaching out and saying, okay, we're gonna create this barn, we're putting a barn door on it. If we can't make that finding, we can't make it, but I think that's what we have to do.
All I'm saying, I'm troubled with this whole process because we're trying to circumvent the bylaw as it exists now. That's really what we're doing.
Well, they could build a barn,
We could build a barn.
okay, and then they could make part of the barn into an accessory apartment. First you build the barn, and then you come back and you apply for accessory apartment. They're trying to do it all at one time, and the barn's the same, just one size. So basically, they're saying it's a 773 square foot barn. Okay, do we have a motion in the file?
We do, it's right
You
here.
want to try to read it, Pat?
Yeah, but I have another question first, because you read off a list of things that, and I couldn't find it amongst what you sent to the planning office. I remember the one that you were not planning to remove any trees.
Correct.
Well, can you refresh me with the others that you were saying that you would take?
Everything else was what was submitted to you. It was the option with having the barn door placed on the northern end. It was the option with having it
windows.
rotated this way. It was the option of having it moved closer. It was making sure that the windows were altered to match the existing house, that the trim and that the paint were all the same. So
Yeah, I
all
just
of those
didn't
other
take
things we
notes, so-
accounted for, and we weren't clear on whether the board specifically wants us to condition the decision so that we don't remove trees. It sounded like there was some discussion on whether that would be necessary or not, so we didn't submit anything with that, but we certainly
Okay.
can.
I would like to get your input on this, because I recognize, like you do, that there are diseased trees, trees become damaged in storms, and pruning for the health of the tree or the surrounding trees may be necessary. So I'd like to insert that in here too, so that, because this is site plan review, but I don't want to make it onerous so that you can't keep your property up either. So I'm struggling with the exact way, I'm certainly wanting to get some input here on that, for the exact way to state that. John, you build, and you know, I think, what I'm talking about.
I do, but I think it's difficult to put it in the decision.
In the decision.
And it would be even more difficult to enforce.
Okay,
That was my concern
so
about it.
best just leaving it out, and,
I would like to comment that we want to take down as few trees as possible. Even if it's a diseased tree, to us, unless it's threatened to
It's
fall.
your tree, that's okay, if you want to keep it.
I mean,
I'd
as
like
we...
to keep as many trees as
Okay.
possible, that's what it comes down
And
to.
as we said last week, and I know, you need to consider a variety of things, there's no motivation or impetus for us to remove trees on that side. It's the northern side, and it faces the street. We have no desire to open up a view to the cul-de-sac.
okay, so best just leaving it out and know that.
It's entirely up to you. We're happy to do it if it makes people feel better, but honestly, there's just no motivation for us to mess with the trees on that side, outside of putting in the septic. And after that, we will allow it to grow back naturally.
Okay, so what we've got here is all the natural growth.
Yes.
That you're going to preserve as much of it as
Absolutely,
possible.
yes.
Okay,
Be better off doing that.
We don't want a lawn.
Is it too late to
okay.
Okay, well, let's see what it says, and we'll have a
Why don't I make the
discussion.
motion and then we can,
Yeah, let's hear
Yes,
it.
okay.
Yeah, let's hear what it says.
I move that the planning board vote to approve the application of Thomas and Marisha Messer under, Article 39, site plan review of the zoning bylaw for a plan entitled Plot Plan with Topography Showing Proposed Building for Number 190 Goleta Drive, Falmouth, Mass. Prepared by Warwick and Associates, Inc., dated October 28, 2001. Is that really 2001?
Yep.
Oh, my goodness, it is. With latest revision of March 21, 2018, scale 1 inch equals 20 feet, 2 sheets, along with existing condition floor plans for the main residence entitled Existing Plan Messer, 190 Goleta, Hatchville, hand-drawn by applicant, 3 sheets. Proposed floor plans of the accessory structure entitled Messer Guest House, computer generated, no title block, 1 sheet. Elevation plans of the proposed accessory structure entitled Messer Residence Elevations, drawn by Noble Home, dated March 21, 2018, scale 1/4 inch equals 1 foot, 0 inches, 1 sheet, and existing conditions, photos of the primary residence, 2 sheets, with the following findings and conditions. Findings. The applicants Thomas and Marisha Messer seek to construct a detached accessory apartment structure on their parcel of land located at 190 Goleta Drive, which contains an existing single-family residence. The proposed accessory structure is a 1-story, 773-square-foot building containing 1 bedroom. The existing finished square footage of the primary residence is 2,007 square feet and contains 4 bedrooms, with 1 to be eliminated and relocated to the detached accessory apartment. The proposed percentage of total floor area of the accessory apartment is 39% of total finished floor area of the principal structure. The parcel is zoned agricultural A, and in parentheses, AGA. The architectural elevations and siting of building in the initial plans proposed by Thomas and Marisha Messer did not meet the design standard requirements of the accessory apartment bylaw. As Section 4B states, the architectural effect as the result of the accessory apartment being constructed within an accessory structure shall be that of a garage or barn customarily incidental to a single-family residence compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. The planning board also felt the siting of the proposed structure did not maintain the essential character of a single-family dwelling or accessory structure to the primary residence. The proposed siting and design of the structure provided the look of two primary single-family residences. After hearing planning board comments and meeting with planning staff, the Messers revised their site plan and architectural details to comply with the bylaw's design standards. At the March 20th planning board meeting, the applicant presented plans to alter the architecture and relocate the siting of the accessory structure to the satisfaction of the board, and is reflected in the above referenced plans. The planning board thanks the applicant and design team for revising the above referenced plans per the board's comments and recommendations. The applicant's attention is directed to the Water Department's referral dated January 22, 2018. Each occupied structure on a parcel must have a separate water service with meter. The referral indicates a separate submittal for a water service to the Water Department is required for review and approval. The planning board's review is restricted to the exterior of the building and defers to the building commissioner as to issues related to building code, including but not limited to egress and separation from the proposed apartment floor plan and the unfinished basement space within the detached structure. Findings pursuant to Section 240-23I of the zoning bylaw. A, only one accessory apartment shall be allowed per lot, and the above referenced application and plans comply with this requirement. B, either the principal dwelling or accessory apartment must be owner occupied for a period of 7 months in every calendar year, or owned by a nonprofit organization or government authority whose purpose is to provide affordable housing. The board will condition its decision accordingly. C, either the principal dwelling or accessory apartment may be rented, but not both during the 5 months the owner occupant may be absent. Rental periods shall be no less than 6 months, and weekly/monthly rentals, summer rentals so-called, are expressly prohibited. Neither the principal dwelling nor accessory apartment shall be used as commercial accommodations at any time. The board will condition its decision accordingly. D, the accessory apartment shall have no more than 2 bedrooms and a maximum of 800 square feet of floor area, or 40% of the floor area of the principal dwelling, whichever is less. The above referenced plans comply with this requirement. E, the total number of bedrooms on the lot shall not exceed 4 when the lot contains less than 20,000 square feet. The lot contains 33,291 square feet of upland. The primary residence currently has 4 bedrooms, and the above proposed plan will relinquish 1 bedroom from the primary residence and relocate 1 bedroom to the accessory apartment for a continued total of 4 bedrooms on the parcel. Therefore, this requirement is non-applicable. F, the board makes no finding on nitrogen loading and defers to the Board of Appeals for review as a special permit granting authority under Section 240-98C. G, the board finds the architectural effect is that of a barn customarily incidental to a single-family residence and compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. H, the application for site plan review shall include the information contained in Section 240-195C unless waived by the planning board. The board finds the information provided satisfactory in order to make a decision. Conditions. 1, the plan shall be constructed as approved. Any changes shall be reviewed by the planning board to determine if a modification of this decision is necessary. Pursuant to Section 240-183B of the zoning bylaw, no permit for full or partial occupancy shall be issued until the planning board is satisfied that the conditions of this approval and predecessor approvals have been met. 2, either the principal dwelling or accessory apartment must be owner occupied for a period of 7 months in every calendar year, or owned by a nonprofit organization or government authority whose purpose is to provide affordable housing. An affidavit shall be submitted annually to the building commissioner, signed by the property owner, attesting that the principal dwelling or accessory apartment has been owner occupied for a period of 7 months and not otherwise rented as set forth above. 3, either the principal dwelling or accessory apartment may be rented, but not both, during the 5 months the owner occupant may be absent. Rental period shall be no less than 6 months, and weekly/monthly rentals, summer rentals so called, are expressly prohibited. Neither the principal dwelling nor accessory apartment shall be used as commercial accommodations at any time. Need a second. She seconded.
Second? Okay, we have a first, a second discussion. Was there anything there about the basement not being finished in the findings?
No.
I think we need to condition it that the basement,
So you want to add I?
yeah,
Okay. So we're adding I.
because it's showing a stairwell going down to, they still have the bathroom in there. Is that true? Is the bathroom still in the basement?
It's the rough plumbing for a bathroom. There's
That's
gonna
not
be-
going to fly.
It was unclear with the zoning board.
Okay.
Sari said that it was considered uninhabited space, so it
Well,
was
you-
not clearly defined by this board. We're happy to lose it if it's an issue.
Well, yeah, it is,
Yeah,
we have a problem with the intent to add a new room and a bathroom and make it a 1,400 square foot dwelling, which could be done very easily. You have a secondary means of egress and a stairwell going to it.
Okay, we can remove the bathroom. It's not a problem. It just was not clearly stated to us one way or the other, and Sari had said it was not habitable space, so that was
That's
where
between
it
them.
was left.
That's
Okay.
their board, you can deal with them. No habitable space.
the basement shall not be finished, and
No-
there shall be no plumbing.
Can we have plumbing for washer dryer, though? We'd like
Then
to
it's
have our
a
washer
laundry
dryer.
You can have a,
It's only laundry room if it's enclosed.
yeah, okay, you're right.
Okay,
You can have
so-
plumbing for, it could be like any other basement that's not heated. Run down, do your laundry like everybody else does.
Right, that's our intent.
yeah.
It's a small space upstairs.
It is.
That's
Okay,
reasonable.
the basement shall not be finished, plumbing for washer, dryer facilities only.
Yep. Or just no bathroom.
Basement shall not be finished.
Because the bathroom makes it another room to the house. Just, other people that have done this weren't even allowed to have a doorway that goes into another portion of the house. We're not selecting you out. I think what's happening is people are trying to find a way around this bylaw to make it bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's not our
I
intent.
know, but that's what it looks like, so, so what we've had to do before is, it's supposed to be a totally separate,
So there shall be no bathroom? There,
Unfinished, no bathroom, only plumbing for a washer and dryer. Just state
That's
it.
fine.
will be
Not for
unfinished,
habitation. Not for habitation.
no bathroom.
okay, well, I got a question, okay? We're getting boxed in here. If this was a 2,000 square foot barn, and the owner of the house wanted to finish another portion of it, but not being part of the accessory apartment bylaw, but just have another room in it. But you could finish a barn off right now. If you have a 2,000 square foot barn, you wanted to make a workshop
All right.
and put heat and do it, you can do it without even,
But this shall take care, this will take
Right.
care of it as a finding. So let me read it back. The basement shall be unfinished, no bathroom, plumbing only for washer and dryer.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
We're trying to
It's not,
move.
it's not just the current owners. It'd be so easy to turn this into return the original house to 4 bedrooms and make this 2 more bedrooms right here, and you'd have a 6-bedroom property and a distinctly separate buildings.
Right, that's why it's gonna definitely be it's gonna have in the special permit that there's only 4 bedrooms total, and an unfinished basement on the
Right.
other end, so it'll be covered that way to prevent that from happening.
Did you get the wording, Corey?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
You all set?
I'm good, yes.
Okay, we don't have, we have a motion and a second. It's been amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I oppose.
1, 2, 3, 4 to 1. You got it. Off to ZBA.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
We thank the board for all the time that you've spent working with us. We really appreciate it.
Well, first one out of the slot, trying to do it from scratch. We hadn't seen this before, okay? This is,
Understood.
that's why I got
Glad to be your guinea pigs.
Okay, so now,
Okay. Applicant Anthony Burke, do we have a motion for this one? Site plan review, we've done this, right? We're just here to, we've had discussion?
yeah, but you gotta read.
Okay, sorry, I gotta read the whole thing.
Sorry.
Applicant Anthony Burke, site plan review, construct an accessory apartment within a single-family residence located at 38 Martin Road, Falmouth Engineering. We have a draft motion?
We do.
You all set to read it?
Sure. I move that the planning board vote to approve the application of Anthony Burke for an accessory apartment under sections 240-23I and section 49, site plan review of the zoning bylaw for a plan entitled Plot Plan Proposed Septic System for number 38 Martin Road, prepared for Robert Burke in Falmouth, prepared by Falmouth Engineering, Inc., dated December 27, 2016, revised January 9, 2017, scale 1 inch equals 20 feet, together with existing house floor plan entitled Building Sketch, 1 sheet, and existing condition photos of the exterior, 2 photos, with the following findings and conditions. Findings: the applicant, Anthony Burke, seeks to convert a portion of the primary residence at 38 Martin Road into a 750-square-foot apartment with associated parking. The primary residence is sited on a 1.07 acre or 46,527 square foot lot with a finished floor area of 1,999 square feet. The parcel is zoned agricultural A, AGA. The planning board's review is restricted to the exterior of the building and will defer to the building commissioner regards to issues related to building code, including but not limited to egress and separation from the proposed apartment floor plan and the surrounding space within the primary residence. Findings: pursuant to section 240-23I of the zoning bylaw. A, only 1 accessory apartment shall be allowed per lot, and the above referenced plans comply with this requirement. B, either the principal dwelling or accessory apartment must be owner-occupied for a period of 7 months in every calendar year, or owned by a nonprofit organization or government authority whose purpose is to provide affordable housing. The board will condition its decision accordingly. C, either the principal dwelling or accessory apartment may be rented, but not both during the 5 months the owner-occupant may be absent. Rental periods shall be no less than 6 months, and weekly/monthly rentals, summer rentals so-called, are expressly prohibited. Neither the principal dwelling nor accessory apartment shall be used as commercial accommodations at any time. The board will condition its decision accordingly. D, the accessory apartment shall have no more than 2 bedrooms and a maximum of 800 square feet of floor area, or 40% of the floor area of the principal dwelling, whichever is less. The above referenced plans comply with this requirement. E, the total number of bedrooms on the lot shall not exceed 4 when the lot contains less than 20,000 square feet. The lot contains 46,520 square feet of upland, therefore this requirement is non-applicable. F, whether allowed as a matter of right or by special permit, accessory apartments located on lots subject to the provisions of the Water Resource Protection or Coastal Pond Overlay Districts, the total number of bedrooms shall not exceed 1 per 10,000 square feet of lot area, unless both the principal dwelling and accessory apartment are connected to the municipal sewer system or to an on-site septic system with enhanced nitrogen removal approved by the Board of Health. The lot is not subject to the provisions of the Water Resource Protection District. This lot is within a coastal pond overlay district, however. The lot contains 46,527 square feet of land, which would allow for a maximum of 4 bedrooms. There are 4 bedrooms shown on the floor plans. G, the board finds the architectural effect as the result of the accessory apartment being constructed within the principal dwelling is that of a single-family residence compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. Parking for the accessory apartment is provided in a manner that is compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. Conditions, the plan shall be constructed as approved. Any changes shall be reviewed by the planning board to determine if a modification of this decision is necessary. Pursuant to Section 240-183B of the zoning bylaw, no permit for full or partial occupancy shall be issued until, until the planning board is satisfied that the conditions of this approval and predecessor approvals have been met. 2, either the principal dwelling or accessory apartment must be owner occupied for a period of 7 months in every calendar year, or owned by a nonprofit organization or government authority whose purpose is to provide affordable housing. An affidavit shall be submitted annually to the building commissioner, signed by the property owner, attesting that the principal dwelling or accessory apartment has been owner occupied for a period of 7 months and not otherwise rented as set forth above. 3, either the principal dwelling or accessory apartment may be rented, but not both during the 5 months the owner occupant may be absent. Rental periods shall be no less than 6 months, and weekly/monthly rentals, summer rentals so-called, are expressly prohibited. Neither the principal dwelling nor accessory apartment shall be used as commercial accommodations at any time. 4, the applicant must work with the Department of Public Works Engineering Division to receive an approved driveway permit prior to issuance of the site plan review decision.
Okay. We have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Charlotte, I'll go Charlotte first. You got anything?
I'm looking at the drawing, trying to find where the proposed driveway is, just so I can understand what I'm looking at, and I haven't found it yet. Do you see it?
It wasn't on there.
It's not here at all?
It wasn't depicted, Charlotte.
Where's the thought for it?
Well, I think that's what the engineer said. It looks like they just started driving over the land and never really did it.
Oh, and
so-
they haven't made a decision about it?
Well, they have a letter from the engineer saying that they have to make some changes.
Ah.
And it's conditioned in their permit that they're going to do that. Sure.
That's the last, it's number 4 on the decision, that they're going to work with the DPW.
I saw that, but I thought there might be some indication of it that I just wasn't seeing.
No.
No, there's pictures,
Oh,
okay? You can't, here's the edge of the
That's your
driveway. This is the edge of the driveway right here. It's really just dirt.
oh, yeah,
I mean,
So they're going to work with,
what the engineer said is that it doesn't meet their standard where the dirt driveway meets the road. They have to put in an apron and some changes, and he's gonna make them do it.
okay.
And that's part of our decision.
I don't have any other question.
Paul, do you have any questions?
No comment.
John?
I'm all set.
Bob?
Just number 4, it says they have to work with the engineering division to receive an approved permit prior to issuance of the site plan review decision. Does that mean we can't decide tonight?
We can change that. It's our decision prior to a building permit.
Yeah,
Solve it, just change it prior.
If we can
Just make it to a
word
building
so that-
permit and
Because
then,
otherwise,
yeah.
we're holding it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
get catch-22, we'll go in circles.
okay, so we're crossing out issuance of the site plan review decision and saying a building permit.
Yeah.
Thanks, that's a good catch,
Yeah,
Bob.
because they have to do some inside stuff that's gonna require building
Sure.
department.
Okay, so it's amended, and I accept the amendment to the motion.
Okay, so the applicant
Yeah, I didn't-
will receive an approved driveway permit. Okay. Okay, that was all I had.
Good catch.
All set? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Thank you. I'll take these beautiful pictures with you.
Yeah, for posterity.
It costs a lot of money.
Okay.
Okay, back on the agenda.
Davis Street.
Okay. Planning board discussion on Davis Straits, multifamily. Charlotte, you've had anything happen last week on this?
Nothing has happened. I'm very grateful to see it on the agenda. That's good. But no, nothing has happened, so we don't need to discuss this tonight. From anything I know about. Pat, did you have anything?
I don't?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to restate what we've stated a couple times here, that our next phase is we're hoping to have the Cape Cod Commission come and talk to us as a board about this reset. And we've been there for 60 days. I think I've said this several times.
Yeah, I think it's going to
So,
likely happen
yeah,
after.
so after town meeting, we'll have a new planner, and one of the first things on the agenda will be Cape Cod Commission to come and start discussing multifamily on Davis
So
Straits.
the new person starts
Fifth.
the 5th. Excellent.
And town meeting is, when's town meeting? What's the date?
11?
Pat, you said it's Mondays, right? So it's
It
gotta be the
always
8th.
starts on Monday.
Then it's the 8th?
Wednesday is the 4th. He starts on the Thursday. So-
The 9th? Okay, town
Ninth.
meeting, she says, starts on the 9th.
Okay,
Ninth.
all right. So that's the end of Davis Straits for tonight. We're still in that holding period on
Yeah.
that. Do you have an update on the accessory apartment review committee, Pat?
The update is, I hope we don't get any blizzard, any snow tomorrow night, because it was canceled last Wednesday
Oh,
too.
really?
So it's scheduled to meet again tomorrow night.
I sent another section, I forgot to send it the last time. With the current bylaw, we have references to other sections of the zone book, and this is 24195C, which I think is extremely important, because it talks about design features and
Why don't
site
you read it?
planning and all that. Section 24195C, application requirements. The applicant shall submit such materials as may be required regarding design features intended to integrate the proposed new development into the existing landscape, to enhance aesthetic assets and to screen objectionable features from neighbors. Design features shall include but not be limited to site planning, building placement, building size, design compatibility, exterior appearance, construction materials and finishes, parking and roadways, landscaping and site grading, building entrance and exit placement. And I think this is the crux of site plan review, because we talked about having some sort of guidance for site plan review and design review, and this says it right there. You know, the different features, design compatibility, the exterior appearance, the
But that's for
construction
all
materials.
properties, that's not necessarily
Right,
accessory, but that's what it
it's-
should be for
But
everything.
it's referenced in our
Right, but it's
accessory
referenced.
apartment bylaw, so it should be. And then the other comment I have about the review is, I think we really need to come up with how we figure square footage. Because the definition is different, and when we were going through this bylaw, I thought, just like we were referring to or deferring to the Board of Health and the Building Commissioner, that we would defer to this book for different things. And accessory structures are different according to the definitions and some of the references made in how the square footage is calculated. So I think we need to come up with a method of calculating square footage for both interior and detached.
I think, Bob, where it falls down, falls apart.
Yeah.
Is because 800 square feet of floor area.
Floor area, yeah.
So when you look at floor area,
Yeah.
how are we going to define that?
Right.
Because the assessors define it from the outside.
Right.
The ZBA defines it from the inside.
Yeah,
And like I was asking, do they count halls?
yeah.
Well, they do. Well, first of all, the hall question shouldn't be in there. It's the square measurements. It's whether it's the inside of the wall, the outside of the wall, that's negotiable. But this business about hallways, forget about it. They're
Yeah.
included.
Yeah,
It's-
would think,
No, they
yes.
are. They absolutely are. It's
Okay.
the square measurements
Yeah.
of the structure. It's just a question of where we're measuring from.
yeah.
I would like to use what the assessors use, because that's,
That makes sense, because that's what people are taxed on. So if there's a way to count the second story when the roof is sloping, so it's only only half the space,
they do.
and the basement counts for nothing?
No, well, in the assessors counted for nothing, but they do, historically, the ZBA has been counting finished basement as finished area in the calculations of the house.
Well, what's interesting is what was presented to us as a situation in this very plan here, that potentially, it said it's 770, what, 700?
773.
773,
Right.
but that easily turns itself into over 1,500. So,
Well,
because...
not
it-
with the restriction we put on it.
So that we're now having to put a restriction on it, and it should, is there a way to clarify it in the, either this or in the way that you're proposing, that you specify exactly how you're going to count the square footage?
I would suggest that after we get all of the comments of all the participants at that whatever it is, group, the working group,
Yeah,
that we come back here and we take another good look at where people are having problems with the bylaw, including where we're having problems with it, and we seek to rewrite certain portions of it, perhaps.
Yeah,
Some of it may not need to be rewritten either. If we just make it our policy to go by what the assessor's records are, that's a measurement policy.
Yeah,
That,
no, to alleviate any confusion of an applicant, I think it should be spelled out
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
in the bylaw, which means it's
Okay,
rewriting
okay.
a section of the
Yeah,
Yeah,
bylaw.
because you get an architect that's gonna read it one way,
Right, so I agree. One of the things that I talked about with FCTV, they actually called me up, and I said, I want to do a how-to video, do an accessory apartment bylaw, have the building commissioner there, the Board of Health, and probably myself, and walk through, here's the measurements, here's what, and just go through it, and so that the people, it's like a tutorial. Because I think the real problem we have here is everyone's doing things differently, not
yeah.
Not that the-
Between boards.
not
and-
ill-
even boards, not,
Right.
no.
Can't blame the applicants.
Right.
for
You know,
being confused.
right, so I think if we could go with the ZBA, we all agree on the formulas, and we put together basically a tutorial on the Falmouth accessory, and then we have the building commissioner be part of it, if the board, someone from the Board of Health and someone from the planning board, and maybe somebody from the ZBA too.
it'd be useful in putting that together, because as you try to put it together, you'll come across where the blank spaces are.
Right.
And have to fill them in. I'm wondering if in instances, in the revision, in instances where there's not a barn that's now, an existing barn that's going to be repurposed, but you're going to build a new barn-like structure as an accessory, would it be good to limit the amount of space to exist between the original building and the second building? Because the problem we're having here is, that's really two buildings on one lot. And no matter, and they didn't really make it match in style. The new building looks like a contemporary building, the other building looks like a 1970s building. They're just different looking. They didn't really make them match. They've got glass in the low roof, they've changed the look of it. But it's the spacing, the relationship of the two buildings to one another, as Paul pointed out, that really creates that, that's two buildings on one lot. So what I'm suggesting is that the accessory working group limit, if you're going to do a new separate building, it must be within X number of feet, and clearly its massing must relate to the massing of the original building. And I don't know what that magic X would be, but it shouldn't be greater than the width of a driveway.
And some of what you're talking about, Charlotte, too, is pitch of roof.
Right. They
But
didn't
so many
mention
barns
style.
will have a hip roof, though, and the regular house will have.
And keep in mind though too, you could have a 5-acre structure, I mean, a 5-acre parcel.
Yeah.
With a house and a barn way down the end. And no one would even see it, but it'd still be appropriate, in my mind, it'd still be appropriate for an
See,
accessory.
and that's existing.
You mean to build
though.
as a new thing? Or to, are these two
Well-
existing structures
Well,
that you're talking
but
about?
here's the thing. Everyone, you all bring that up, but every special permit we do, many times is a building that's being built. So I understand where you're coming from, but if somebody wants to build, the other way to do it is go ahead and build the barn, get the permit, then now it's existing and come in
Yeah.
and do it. I mean, we're getting caught. I don't think you can say you can't build it as part of a special permit. Oh, because they'll just build it, wait a week and do it then.
Yeah.
John, you'll get back to you again.
Thank you. I joined the board late in the accessory apartment bylaw discussion, but I remember there was some discussion about people that were living in their home. The house was too big for them. They wanted to stay in the neighborhood, stay in the house, so they were going to build a smaller structure in the backyard, substantially acceptable lot, and then rent out the main house, so they got to stay in their neighborhood, and they were able to afford to stay in the neighborhood because taxes are going up, insurance going up, or whatever. There was quite a bit of discussion. I don't remember any naysayers about that. So this does not exactly fit that formula, but it does fit the formula. I do not have a problem with a second structure on the lot. We have detached garages. What's the difference between a detached garage, because it's already there, and they're gonna make an apartment out of it? I have no problem with it. We're trying to make this user-friendly and help alleviate a housing problem. And we had design review. Did we have 10, 12 neighbors here in opposition to this? That's part of our review.
But there must have been quite a bit of discussion around retaining the appearance of a single-family
And
residence.
And we could have voted them down tonight, because that's in our purview, but we did not. They apparently made the structure look acceptable to us because we voted yes, most of us. But we could have voted no.
To me, it isn't a matter of having separate buildings on, it's just that it looks like it was a detached garage. In the location, doesn't even have to look like a detached garage, but in the location where you would put a garage. That the first time they came, it was way off in a corner. It wouldn't have been there. And if you drive around the neighborhood, there are over 30 in that neighborhood of detached garages, attached, semi-detached, ones that protrude beyond the front of the existing house. There's all different configurations. And Charlotte mentioned the roof pitch, and that's something under design review, roof pitch. How does it look compared to the main house? And that's the nuts and bolts of design review, is does it fit? And at the ZBA hearing, I gave two examples. I gave Mullen Hall, okay, old building, brand new additions on each wing. The library, old building, new additions, but you'd never know that those were new additions. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get across when it comes to separate buildings or even additions to existing structures, that it should look like it was always there and not something radically new like the Mullen Hall design.
I can tell you we're up against other groups. There's people out designing what they think could be the perfect accessory
Oh, yeah.
building, one stop fits all, they just plop it in the yard.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And it totally ignores our bylaw about,
Yeah.
and we have architects in town that are all
Oh, I know, yeah.
working on this
Yeah.
thing, but
Yeah.
they need to pay attention to the architectural effect
Yeah.
that we're looking for.
Well, and to respond to John, when I looked at these again, and I did miss last week, so I felt at a disadvantage in commenting tonight, but it seemed that from the plan they first brought to us to the one that we were now going to approve and did approve, they had changed the relationship of one building to another.
Yeah.
They had taken out the double driveway. Remember it had a double driveway to
Yeah.
begin with?
So-
It was so clearly separated before. They'd made quite an effort, and they'd now shingled it, they changed the roof line. Maybe we didn't like it, but we're not going to get 100%. But they had come so far over toward the sense of the bylaw that it would be really hard to have disapproved it.
So the bylaw wording worked.
It did.
You're right.
It's never going to make everybody happy, but there was a compromise there. They have a barn with contemporary glass is what they got.
And we had discussions about, what if this was on, say, Falmouth Heights or Mara Vista, the parking, the
Yeah.
neighbors, the complaints.
We
And
can't-
if this applicant was in Mara Vista or Falmouth Heights, there may have been 20 or 30 people here in opposition to it, or maybe even in support of it. So, I mean, it's all part of the design review. We have to take in the public comments.
Well, but do
And
you
then
agree with
decide.
Bob that this will help applicants, and it will help us by clarifying what it is we'll be looking at and looking for? Remember when these people first appeared, we asked them, well, gee, did you read the bylaw? Because it looked as if they hadn't
They
done it.
hadn't. They hadn't, their plans even showed that they designed it before the bylaw existed.
Oh,
So that's, they'd been working on it for a couple of years, so they were
Yeah.
just, they were trying to shoehorn their building into our bylaw. And it took them a long time.
well, I think what Bob's written up would be a big help to applicants.
Well, it actually he didn't.
I didn't write it.
This
This-
is in
this
our
is-
bylaw.
this is
He
in the
cut-
book.
He cut and pasted in
Then
it.
Yeah.
put it with it. so
It
they
is.
Don't miss it
Yeah.
next
It's
time.
what it is. It's by number. It's attached by number, but it actually should,
Yeah, well, last week, there was another package Pat has that had the other referenced sections of the bylaw, and this one I forgot to send.
Oh.
And so this, you can add to that packet that I
Oh, okay.
sent.
It's,
I didn't get last week's packet.
That's so we know what the other tenets
pieces are.
of the bylaw that we need to be looking at as well.
well, and maybe when we do this tutorial, that we could actually take some pictures of
Examples.
accessory structures, what
And I had a conversation with the person, with Holly, was it Wilson?
yes.
Yeah, and maybe putting together a little handbook that
Right.
has some pictures
Right.
Right.
and explaining, some of the things that we look at, so that everyone knows what it is that we're looking for.
yes, Pat? And Paul?
It's going to be very difficult, I think, to try to do what we're saying aesthetically, because having grown up in the Midwest, I know what barns look like in the Midwest. They're made of barn board, and they're generally painted red. Like down on the harbor there.
Oh, and there's a lot of old barns around Falmouth, too. that are just
Absolutely.
plain old,
And a lot of them are
Sheds.
just barn board that's weathered, too.
Yeah.
So we have to be really careful, because let's say you do have a 2-acre lot, and as far as getting it within a certain distance of the main house, no, it might be that that barn is a couple of 100 feet away from the house. And you don't want to necessarily say, well, you can't do it because it's too far away from the house. So we have to be really careful.
And there's a
What
lot
we're
of
looking at.
subjectivity involved in this.
that's why we get paid so much for this job.
Yeah.
And I always, I keep going back to this example about a judge he was hearing an obscenity case, and someone asked him to define it. He says, I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. And that's kind of what we're looking at here is, you may not, you know what fits and what doesn't. And what looks out of place versus what fits in. And there is a lot of subjectivity to it.
Well, you just have to accept that. I've just been
Yeah.
driving through an entirely different part of the country, and it's clear in that part of the country, they don't really have strong zoning laws in many of the areas.
Yeah.
And it's detrimental to the community. And our job is to make sure that doesn't happen here.
Right.
And allowing mismatched buildings to be placed in that way destroys the look of the neighborhood.
Yep. Okay,
Jim, just a quick
Paul,
comment.
yeah, sorry.
Follow up on what Bob had said. The comment was made several weeks ago when we were discussing this, that it's out in Hatchville. Nobody will see it.
Yeah, I took care of
And
that.
I was very uncomfortable with that
Yeah.
comment. I don't think
No.
we should adjust the bylaw because of where it is or whether people can see it or not.
Right.
And that was very unsettling to me.
I had heard that and pointed that out to somebody that said it once too, so.
It's just,
Because these are precedent setting, and that's why we're working so hard on it. So Pat, I hope you took notes, you can report back to your group. We actually have some ideas to change it.
Well, yeah, but we haven't reached consensus
good.
on a lot of it, though. No, but really, design issues are gonna be very difficult, and they need to be changed.
And I think having a booklet or a video, a go-by thing is an important
Yeah.
thing too.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add that we had 2 applicants that got approved tonight. And part of what got approved was 2 new places for people to live without putting in a new road, without using more land. We're using existing land and
Without changing the bedrooms.
without changing the bedrooms. I mean,
No, it's really exactly
I mean, this is
what we were trying to do. The
This is
spirit
what-
of the bylaws.
This is what I heard when I first came on the
Yeah.
board. It's
Yeah.
part of what I heard.
And that hasn't changed.
So it's not on a sewer, but it's not, we're
Right,
not-
but they're both on fairly big lots,
yes, which is part of the bylaw.
part of the deal.
So I don't think there's gonna be any, well, there will be some that are really, really, really good, but some of them will still work and not be as good as this board or the next board may like. But it's gonna create the housing that we discussed,
I think we're definitely
one,
getting,
one at a time.
and for people that live in Falmouth,
Correct.
you know, not big developers or anything. This is people here in town doing it, we're doing it ourselves. And that was really the importance of the bylaw, and it's happening, and it's working. Little bumpy,
Not transient either,
Right.
summer
Right.
rentals.
right.
Right.
And the age in place part of it, I think, is really, really important, because I've just seen that happen so much, that if an elderly person could have, a little addition off the back, or a teeny little cottage or whatever, that looks appropriate, they could stay another 10 years
Yeah.
on their property. That's the wonderful thing about it.
I'm gonna put a composting toilet in my shed.
You want to spend time in your shed? Okay.
What is this?
I don't know.
yes, sign it.
Oh, but
It's
you
a
signed
release
it.
It's a
of-
covenant, I signed
Yes,
it.
so we have a covenant to sign there. Did you pass it down so we all?
I didn't want to sign it till I knew what it was. What?
It's a road covenant for Paltz, the Paltz subdivision.
That's the
Yeah.
subdivision?
Oh.
Turning.
Sign it and find out
I
what's
mean,
there.
I did know because I went into, I went
do
into
that
the
in
planning
government.
office, so I did know,
Apparently.
and it blew my mind, so.
Okay, the next, are we gonna have a meeting
Next
prior
meeting.
Yeah,
to
I
town
saw that.
meeting?
I was just looking to see what it
Any
is.
reason to have a impromptu meeting?
I don't think so. You know of any reason?
No, I'm just asking.
I haven't heard of one. We could call one at the last minute. I
Well,
think they already automatically post one, don't they?
no,
You gotta do it.
yes.
Yeah, it's posted before the town meeting.
No, it's
Yeah, but
always
It was always
posted.
Brian, and I talked with Melinda today, and
I
she
don't
said
think
she hadn't
everybody
been
signed.
thinking about doing it.
I think it's the
but-
practice to post one, whether we do it or not.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, we'll post one for emergency
Get it
purposes.
cleared by the principal or the superintendent, I believe. in order
I
to
have
get
no idea who has to clear what, but
Are you making a presentation at town meeting?
What do we have? What bylaws are we,
I'm just curious
I
whether
don't-
you're going to give an update. Last year you did, or last time you did,
you mean on the actions that were,
yeah.
I think we're not there for anything yet. But that you want to do, well, this is what the planning board is doing.
I'm really anxious to talk to the town about Davis Straits, but we haven't been able to get,
We haven't.
our tires are spinning. We gotta get the Cape Cod Commission here.
Okay,
So that's probably going to be in the fall,
Yeah, hopefully.
hopefully. You don't have a pen, do you?
No. Oh, jeez.
so I make a motion, we adjourn.
We're not there yet.
No?
I got to sign this yet.
And we have another agenda item, so you're jumping the
Oh, we
gun.
do. Yes,
I thought that was the
future,
last agenda.
future
No,
agenda
no,
items.
No?
When we're there, but the future agenda items.
I withdraw my motion.
I need my pen back.
I'll get it for you. Is this it?
Yeah.
My knee hurts. I'm ready to
Okay,
go home.
so we have two more items on the agenda. We'll move through quickly here. Future agenda items. Now, this is important because we only discuss things that are on the agenda. Anyone have, we get by town meeting and we'll talk about
Yeah.
some more then?
Yeah.
Okay, you all set with everything? And then,
Excuse me, in the next meeting, you're going to introduce the town planner, I presume? At our meeting?
if he's here.
No, he's on board,
Yeah.
April 17th.
He's coming the
So you have
5th,
to
did you tell me?
introduce him to the
April
town.
5th.
April
Thursday,
5th he'll
April
be
5th.
here, so will you be introducing him to
I
the
hadn't thought
public?
about it, Paul.
I think it'd be a good idea, welcome him anyway.
I think that's a good idea, so,
I think
yeah.
you can
He's
put the
jerking
charm,
your
you can
chain,
charm yourself,
obviously.
Yeah, I can do it.
if you work at it.
Are you gonna be a candidate for, chairman here? I think you're ready to take these meetings over, it looks like. You're calling for adjournment, the future agenda items. I'm all set. We have, next meeting is the 17th, and now there's nothing else on the agenda.
I'm happy to sit here loner.
This is your opportunity to motion for adjourn, Paul.
I move that we adjourn.
Adjourn. It's not debatable.